we start talking about improving change of direction, what we're really talking about is teaching the body how to handle momentum, gravity, and ground reaction forces. And specifically, we want to teach the body how to handle a vertical vector, which is being driven from our body weight, a ground reaction vector, which is being driven by our foot coming in contact with the ground, and lastly, a horizontal vector, which is influencing what would be on the field, our body moving in a certain direction, and then having to stop and change and go the opposite direction. That's going to be much more of a horizontal vector. So our body weight creating the vertical, ground reaction being created by our foot contacting the ground, and lastly, a horizontal vector being driven by, in this case, a resistance band. Now, a resistance band is great to go ahead and use to create that horizontal vector because it's so lightweight. There's very little of a gravity influence when it comes to working with resistance of a band. Now, the other thing that's neat about it is it's going to accelerate the momentum. Because of the stretch and the elasticity of a band, as we stretch it out, you're going to see that the momentum that it creates as we go into it is actually faster than if we were just using body weight. So that's what we're going to do. Now there's 3 drills I like to use to go ahead and teach lateral change of direction, deceleration, strength. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one band. Now you can go ahead and use a double linked up band. That's fine. But you also want to keep in mind this is going to be a one-step drill. I like these drills to teach the young athletes because not only does it teach them how to start being aware of where their body is in space, how their foot is contacting the ground, but it also allows them to go ahead and start getting used to resistance band training in a very safe, short amplitude type exercise. So let me show you what we're talking about. You're going to notice I place cones down because visually cones give me feedback in where I'm landing and where I'm contacting the ground and where I'm moving to. It also is going to tell me that I'm safely stretching the band. Now you'll notice that I'm preloading the band. This would be the band not preloaded. Hardly any tension on it. I'm going to take one step and I'm now 1 yard out and I've got the band loaded 1 yard. Now most bands can stretch 2 yards, so I still have some distance to play with if I happen to go further out as I'm doing the drills. But I place the cone at 1 yard so that I can go ahead and visually let the young athlete know where I want them to go to. One-step drill. First of all, we're going to work on just simple one-step, teaching the athlete how to go ahead and handle the ground. Now, once they go ahead and they start understanding how to plant and come back, I'm going to move the cone so they have to get out further. I want them to take as big a step as they can and learn how to get back. Notice my opposite foot stays stable the whole time. That's drill number 1. You can modify that a little bit by having them do something with their hands, like a reach, going down. They could also reach down and come back up. Anything like that will only accentuate the body's vertical vector driver, which in turn will make them have to learn how to load. The key things to this drill, make sure they get an appreciation for where their foot is contacting the ground, how their foot is contacting ground, are their shoulders staying calm, and are they maintaining a good balance and base of support so that the opposite foot never has to move. Second drill. We're now going to go ahead and we're going to make this drill a unilateral weight-bearing, one-legged drill. And we're going to really emphasize the ability to go ahead and load on one leg. How do we do that? We release the opposite leg. Now this is not a hop. This is a release drill. So as they're going into their one step, they're now going to release this foot off the ground and get back. It's just a simple release and come on back. Now, the key will be, can they perform that drill the same way that they go ahead and perform the one-step drill without the release? You want to see the same distance. You want to see the same movement. You want to see the same calm shoulders. But what you're going to start now challenging them to do is unilaterally weight bear. Why is that important? Because in the real world, when they change direction, they want to be able to release this opposite foot and go in the direction that they're heading. What they don't want to do is put this foot down and then have to change. That's too slow. So the release drill teaches them how to unilaterally weight bear so they can go ahead and change direction and point that foot in the direction that they're heading. One-step release drill. Now the last drill is a two-step drill. And what we're going to do is we're going to move the cone just a little further out, because now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the ability to do two steps. Now the first step is going to be a short step and allowing me to plant and then get back to where I started from. So the first step is not going to be a big reach step. It's now going to go ahead and be two short steps with me exploding off that second step, getting back to the cone that I started from. So I plant myself here, it's 1, 2, and I'm right back to where I started. If you'll notice in slow motion, it's 1, 2, plant, and I'm right back to where I started. Notice I do the one-step release drill to position this foot to get back out. So it's 1, there's my release, and I'm right back to where I started from. Now, if the athlete accelerates beyond their start point, no problem. They're going to accelerate out. That's why you have a little bit of extra space to work with, an additional stretch, so that the band doesn't get overstretched. But you always want them to start back at the beginning point. So the drill will be done like this. 1, 2, get out quick. And then I'm going to reset and go again. Set, go. 1, 2, get out quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and reset. Two-step, change your direction series. Start with a one-step, then go to a one-step release, then go to a two-step deceleration drill. It'll help your athletes learn how to integrate the entire kinetic chain so that they learn how to go ahead and change direction in a lateral direction.